Hello, everybody. We are live. We've had some,
Yay!
I'd like to say technical difficulties, but it's really user errors because I've never had to take us live before. So I couldn't find the little teeny tiny words that said go live. But we found them. Welcome to the 2023 season of the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am your girl, Cleveland Kate. To my right, if you see the screen the way I see the screen, Lisa from Florida. Some part of Florida. I can't keep track. We've got quite a few interesting things to talk about tonight. Dana is on vacation. Oh, actually, what should we call it? Dana's on assignment.
Yes.
Somebody will be joining us here in a little bit. Want to give a shout out here at the top of the show to Donkeys. They have some of the best cheesesteaks you would ever get on the Eastern Seaboard and probably in the whole country. I'm going to see if I can remember, Lisa. There are 3 locations.
Go ahead.
Camden, Mount Holly, and
Medford.
So thank you. Hello to our listeners and viewers in the chat on YouTube. For those of you watching us either on Facebook or Twitter, love to have you here. If you jump over to YouTube, then we can actually see your comments. Maybe we'll share them on the screen. If you have questions for us, you can throw them out there. We just might answer those too. So a couple of things that we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the preseason. I really want to talk about the breaking news with the Michael Oher story from that movie, The Blind Side. Even people who aren't football fans have seen that movie, and there's just been a lot come out in the last couple of days. So I just want to kind of touch on that. And also, I think, Lisa, one of your favorite topics, rookie quarterbacks. We've seen, I know in Cleveland, we've seen a lot of DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who they drafted this year. There have been a lot of rookies getting may end up starting, may not be starters, but we've seen a lot of interesting quarterback play so far this preseason. What are you seeing?
Well, the thing about it is what we wanted to see is we wanted to see the 3 quarterbacks taken, of course. You know, you want to see Bryce Young, you want to see CJ Stroud, you want to see Anthony Richardson, our top 3 tier quarterbacks that got taken. Preseason 1, Kate, we always laugh. We always launch the overreaction button, right? Do we not? Who's going to the Super Bowl? We're going all the way. Oh, we suck. I mean, it's you know. And then we always go back to the Allen Iverson. It's just practice. It's practice.
I did a radio show last night with the guy who's from Vegas, covers the Raiders.
Yes.
Going on and on about how good his Raiders look. And I'm like, dude, it's preseason.
It's preseason.
It's not even ones and ones, people. It's preseason.
It's compared apples and oranges of, you know, and it's fun. It makes great debate. I mean, we got to see a lot of these rookie quarterbacks. Even granted, they only went 1 quarter. Shocking, though, was how fast these guys got named starters. It's amazing. Bryce Young, which I can see Bryce Young, I think, as expected. I mean, when you look at Bryce Young, you have to honestly say between these 3 quarterbacks, he comes from a winning program in Alabama. You know, he's poised, season ready. I mean, let's look about some size, 5'10", but let's be honest. We're in a fun and gun offense system now. We're rolling our quarterbacks out. We're option reads. And when you look at Bryce Young and when you let's break down Bryce Young first, because one thing, let me tell you something about this kid that I noticed right off watching tape and stuff like that. This kid went through his progressions, Kate.
Yes.
I mean, even being rushed, he hit, I think on a 4th read, that's almost unheard of for a rookie quarterback. I mean, when you watch quarterbacks, like some of these quarterback gurus watch, some of these kids can't even, they panic and get through. They're just throwing because Anthony Richardson. I think he panicked, threw the ball. His first read got intercepted. You know, he's going to learn. When you look what Bryce brought to that game, just for the first couple series that he played, this kid's going to be good. If he can maintain that, we'll talk about that in a minute, Graham. What got me with him was, like you said, he read right through all those progressions. And I mean, he went 1 quarter, 4 for 6, 21 yards. You didn't see a lot. Like I said, we're not going to see a lot right now. I mean, you're gonna just see them kind of play. But as expected, he's going to start in Carolina, which he should. I think as poised, he's ready. The second one, let's talk about CJ Stroud, your guy here, a little bit out of Ohio State. Once again, comes from a winning program. you can honestly tell the difference. I'm sorry. I watched all three of these quarterbacks. I watched every single tape on there. I watched all their throws. There is a clear gap to me and between CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and Richardson. And I think when you look at Anthony Richardson, who was named, like Graham just said, was named the starter today, I was shocked, as did he say. His comment was, I was shocked. But I think Indy's all in. They're going to throw the kid to the wolves. They're going to just let him learn. I mean, God, I know I'm going to get pounded for this. He's a Jamarcus Russell to me right now. The kid's huge. He's athletic. If you can just hone all those skills in to get him to, it's going to be time. You're going to have some really big learning curves in Indy with him.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised with Bryce Young or CJ being drafted 1 and 2 by teams that desperately needed help at the quarterback position. There's not a lot of competition going on there. Richardson surprised me. Well, Gardner Minshew isn't the world's greatest quarterback. I thought there would have at least been a competition and kind of ease him into the season. But it looks like Indy's just going to throw, like you said, throw him in the fire and let's see what we got.
And I, it's my motto. You get drafted in the first round, you start. You're supposed to be pro ready. Out of all these quarterbacks, he had 13 starts, Kate, for Florida. 12 of them came in 2022. So you look at that gap, and I think Richardson's got a little bit more of a ways to climb. The talk of the weekend was your fella, DTR. Let me tell you something. One of the things that I'm very excited about going into preseason 2, and he was named starter, matter of fact, for your preseason 2 game. I don't know if you know that.
Yep.
But, I mean, I think pretty much everybody handed the second string job to Joshua Dobbs. And I think Kellen Mond, who got released, I think they thought those two were going to battle. This kid came up out of nowhere. And he's another one that you can just watch him progress. He progresses weeds as he's running. So when he could, as long as he doesn't get past that line of scrimmage, this dude could stop on a dime and launch this ball. So we know what Deshaun Watson can do. But if this kid keeps elevating his game and Watson struggles, keep an eye on this kid.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do because they've spent so much money on Watson that they're kind of stuck with them. But when I saw DTR come out, when I saw Dorian Thompson-Robertson out of UCLA, I talked to him at the Combine, and I thought he was just so smart. And when I saw him in that Jets game, the Hall of Fame game, blocking, like I wanted to take him aside and be like, dude, you're a quarterback. You can't be blocking. You are going to hurt yourself. I am proud to see him wear the number 17, which was Brian Sipes' number for us old Brown fan. A little nervous about it. But I told people then he's going to be at least 3 on the depth chart, if not 2 by the time we get to the season. And then on the radio show I did last night, we were talking about it. And I said, Mond is gone. DTR is moving up. And you're right. They handed Dobbs the backup job, and I think it's up for grabs now. I do
too. I'm excited.
If Deshaun Watson gets injured, or if it's one of those injuries where he needs to sit out a couple plays and then goes back in, or any other kind of an injury, I think DTR are going to be the backup quarterback for week 1, and I think he's going to get in. I don't think there will be a situation where bad play will get Deshaun benched just because of the dollars involved. But I do think that everybody who was thinking Dobbs was just a sure thing at number 2 needs to rethink that, because DTR just looks amazing.
And you have to understand, I think the coaches see it too, because to elevate the kid to start game 2, I think he takes your 2. I do. I don't see the kid looking back. At this point, I don't see the kid looking back. He's got the coach's attention. He's certainly got the fans' attention. I don't see this kid looking back. And quite frankly, when I looked at his tape and broke him down and was looking at it, I would not be surprised to see this kid launch into a starting quarterback spot. I really would not.
Yeah. Are there any of them that you've seen that you are not happy with, or that just haven't looked good to you?
Well, like I said, Richardson was a little sketchy for me. I kind of, I'm not quite sure where the starting nod came from. Another one, Will Levis, he came out. I mean, he looked okay. Definitely looked like the same quarterback he did in Kentucky. He had a couple little rough seasons. Got a good arm though. Kid had a little bit better arm than I did. But I mean, I kind of was a little disappointed. I thought he would come in and kind of, light some fires and kind of thing. But I was kind of disappointed in his play. Not that I wasn't, like I said, I still know it's preseason game. I still know, but watching him and Willis go at the number 2, clearly Willis is way ahead of him. Malik's a lot ahead of him. So it'd be hard for me to see him kind of, go anywhere else. I
worry about Richardson because I don't have a lot of faith in that offensive line in Indy, and he really needs a good offensive line with that gap you talked about between Bryce and CJ and him. One of the keys to his success is going to be at least having a good offensive line, and I'm not sure what he's going to do for him.
And I think it comes from the programs. I really do. Yeah. I think when you look at Ohio State, you look at Alabama, and then you look at Florida. There was a big gap there for the last couple of years. So I think that's going to kind of have, play in here. So I think as of right now, if there's any quarterback that you would say would fail between all 3, it would be him to me. I think I got Bryce, CJ, then him. So he's close. So like I said, it's going to be very interesting to see what we do, but I'll tell you.
Yeah. We've got a question from Peter in the chat room.
Peter.
Wants to know if Elijah Moore has the potential to be the wide receiver 1 in the Browns. He's talking about the Browns offense.
Yes.
I think he does. The problem is going to be Amari Cooper, is going to be who Deshaun doesn't have a lot of chemistry with any of the receivers except for Amari. He started working with him last year, but you've got Cedric Tillman, David Bell, Jakeem Grant, Mike Harley. We've got a ton of wide receivers that nobody's heard of. And I think, Elijah has the skill set to be a number 1. It's just going to be, for the Browns at least, it's going to depend on who Deshaun gets that chemistry with early. And if you've got DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, in as your backup, maybe he gets some chemistry with some of these receivers, and you'll see different receivers hitting depending on who's in the game. So he's definitely someone to watch. Hopefully Sonia will be joining us here pretty quick, but I started seeing some news yesterday about Michael Oher, who was drafted by, I think, the Patriots and then traded over to the Baltimore Ravens right quick. And
the Ravens took him, right? They traded the pick.
They traded the pick. Yeah. So, yes, that's what they did. So he had a very nice little career with the Ravens, went to a few Pro Bowls, did well. The movie came out, The Blind Side. And everyone I know has seen it, even if they're not football fans. It's a really good movie, and it's based on a true story about an affluent Christian white family in Tennessee who adopted this young African-American boy who was homeless. He was 16 or 17. He'd been homeless since he was 11. The movie portrays it like his mom just had multiple kids that were either taken away by the state or left or whatever. And it's this whole feel-good story about how they reached out to him, took him into their homes, got him into a good high school, helped him graduate, go to college. Of course, he goes to, Ole Miss. And so there's a lot of fun things in the movie with the different football coaches. We at my house laugh because I said if Jim Harbaugh ever tried to come sit in my living room trying to recruit one of my grandchildren, I would just give him the hand. Won't even talk to him. Don't even know if I'd let him in my house. So I get that kind of stuff. But this week, Michael Oher has filed a lawsuit. Apparently, he didn't find out until this February that he thought they had legally adopted him, and he signed adoption papers. And it turns out it was actually a conservatorship. Like we saw that stuff go through with Britney Spears. And the family's saying that because he had already turned 18, it had to be a conservatorship instead of an adoption. But because of that paperwork, they were allowed to sell the rights to his name and his life story and everything for the movie. He's now claiming he didn't make any money off the movie. They're claiming he got a piece of that. There's all kinds of money conversations going on. And apparently part of the lawsuit includes a petition to end the conservatorship. It was supposed to end when he turned 25. And so there are a lot of things that you can do in court. You can have your record expunged. Like if you get a DUI, like after 10 years, you can have your record can be expunged, but it doesn't just go away on itself. You have to fill out a form and make the request and turn it in. And apparently this conservatorship was like that. No one turned in the paperwork when he was 25 to end it. And so still to this day, the Chewy family has legal claim to his likeness and his life story and all this stuff. I would love to know what happened with his NFL money and where his NFL agent is, and how his agents and stuff didn't know. Did they just not make a claim on any of his NFL earnings? There's still a lot we don't know. The family is adamantly denying it, and saying it's, that he's just been coming after them for money all the time, and that, since he left football and this is just another thing. But some things you can't deny. There is no adoption paperwork. It was a conservatorship, and it is still in effect. Like I said, part of the petition in the lawsuit is to end the conservatorship. Pete and Graham in the chat room are both saying the same thing. It's a mess. It's just become a mess. And then I've seen a lot of these comments online. That scene with the NCAA investigator was right the whole time. That seems to be, there was a whole, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know what rock you've been living under. There's a whole scene where the NCAA is just trying to verify that he is legit living with this family, that they're just not some, boosters trying to pretend he's living with them and going to school here and doing this, that, and the other to get someone with talent into the college program that they want him in. So I find it interesting that it's taken this long for him to find out some of this stuff. Maybe that's a typical football player where you just listen to your agents and the people around you and you don't really look into this stuff. It's just a sad situation. And from where I'm at, I'm bummed if these people weren't just being nice like I always thought they were. If they were actually in it for their school, that's a line I don't cross, not even for my Buckeyes.
I don't know. Like I said, the bad part with us is we're memes of a movie. I mean, that's all we can base this off of. We don't know fact. We can go by what he has said in interviews with the movie. I know he was upset that the movie made him look so dumb. He was was okay in school. So I question, okay, well, if you're that smart, why did you have to get tutored? Okay, so let's start, because that's a fact that there was a tutor for him. They did hire a tutor. It's hard because all we're basing this off is the movie we saw, and the movie made him look kind of not very smart. The movie made him act like he didn't know a thing about football, which was very untrue. He very much knew about football, and he was actually very good from the start. Yeah. So that stuff was
too, I think, right?
That wasn't true. The movie did hit about that part where they couldn't adopt him because he was 18, coming near 18. I mean, they addressed it in the movie. I didn't ever hear that wasn't factual. Another thing was they looked like they were very well off.
Thanks, Graham.
Yeah, I saw that one a couple times. But I mean, when you look at the whole situation, you almost ask yourself, okay, there's so many facts that we don't know. I haven't even heard the Tui side. I haven't even heard what they're saying. But the movie made it sound like they were well off. Didn't look like they really needed his money to me. I mean, right. So
yeah, that's what's difficult. Is this is right now. It's in the court of public opinion. Right. And to your point, we're all experts because we've seen the movie.
There's nothing about it. And
we've also seen movies about real life events that are dramatized and they add and subtract things and stuff. It's never exactly the way you see it in the movie.
Yeah. So you go to a couple things that we all have questions with. Was like you said, okay, I know he got married. Does the wife have something to do with this? Did she just go spend happy and spend all his money and now they are going back after it?
Right.
And they realized it. I kind of find it hard, even if you're under censorship. My thing is, if in the court documents, what he's saying, I read what he kind of said, if indeed facts, that what he says is there was royalties given out, named in the movie of Leanne, the husband, and her 2 kids, and he wasn't named. Now, if that's true, that's kind of shady.
Yeah.
I mean, you're giving your kids his royalty from his story, and he's not even named in the royalty. That's kind of odd. I find that odd.
Yeah, they say that they've sent him money and they've given him checks that he hasn't cashed, but maybe now, I don't know. It's all very odd. We will keep watching it. It's sad because it's all fractured now. Everything that we saw in a movie that was a feel-good movie about something that,
in America we all need right now is some feel good stories about people helping people out has now just been ripped in front of our face, and now we're dealing with court documents because once again, money. Everything boils right down to money.
Right. And I wonder if it will bring about any change in the NCAA system, right? So we saw that scene with the investigators.
But was that? I don't think that was true.
Are they going to question people even more? Are they going to be like, well, he lied to us, so maybe you're lying?
Yeah, I don't think it was true though, right? I don't think that NCAA ever investigated it like that, right? That was just written into the movie.
Didn't. But in real life, they do. And so now, after seeing the movie and it came out so long, and now he's claiming this stuff, are the investigators today going to be looking a little more carefully and a little more skeptical if they run into any players in situations like this? Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
And it'd be interesting to see if he did. It'll be interesting to see if he does turn that cheek, saying he really wanted to go to Tennessee or he really wanted to go there, but their influence to Ole Miss. It'll be interesting to see if he plays that card. It'll be, like I said, a lot of it interesting because, like I said, we're all just going off of a movie we saw.
Yeah,
we can't go off of what
he hasn't played that yet. But you're right; that'll be interesting if that. I'm sure there will be more interviews and statements and things coming out in the upcoming weeks. It'll be interesting if that side of things comes out because somebody's going to ask him. Where did you really want to go play college? And did they influence where you went?
Yeah, I think that's where we're going to go now was that true? Because I don't think it was part of the movie. I think that was just a little bit of a, like I said, parts were put in movies. It's a movie. It's got to make it interesting. You got to make a little bit of fun. Yeah. So, so he had a whole different story, but it's sad because it's a whole fractured story that we all, grew to like and was kind of hoping it was all real. And
yeah. I'm with you. Ultimately, it's sad. What else is sad is the quality of football I've been seeing in the preseason. Good Lord.
Practice.
When the Jets beat the Panthers 27-0, when the Jags barely beat the Cowboys, when the Ravens beat the Eagles. Okay, that one was actually a good game. Chargers beat the Rams.
Why are the Jets putting their first string defensive lines in?
I don't know. Have you watched any of the Hard Knocks?
No, I haven't.
I just finally watched the episode where the Jets were prepping to play the Browns in the Hall of Fame game, which was interesting, especially because there's a scene they show with DTR goes over on the other sideline and is chit-chatting with Aaron Rodgers. Apparently they know each other for somewhere. I haven't figured out if they have like the same agent or how they know each other.
Right.
They were like, yo, bro, sup. And then they're chit-chatting. And I'm like, whoa.
DTR's attitude. The kid's got a chip on his shoulder. I dig that with a quarterback. I mean, how many other rookie quarterbacks would just go up to Aaron Rodgers and go, sup, what's up? Seriously, right?
They talk.
It's like this kid's already putting himself on levels.
Each other from somewhere.
Right?
I don't know.
These kids are he's putting himself on a level already.
Yeah. So they ended up losing. The Jets lost that week. They won this week. They just annihilated the Panthers. And I don't know if there was some personal stuff in there, if this was because of the Peyton stuff, that they were putting first stringers in long after first stringers were out.
They were. It was crazy.
Yeah. So, it hasn't been thrilling. No big injuries that I've seen. The games Friday night were a little boring. I actually had tickets to go to the Browns game, and right as we got there, we got hit with a downpour and tornado warnings, and there was like an hour delay. And I don't know about all of you, but if someone gives me free preseason tickets, I don't care if they're 5 rows up off the 40-yard line. I am not sitting in the rain for preseason football. I got home by the time the game started and got to watch it from the dryness of my living room. But there were some good games on Friday. The Packers took it to the Bengals 36-19. There were clearly some 2s, 3s, and 4s in for Cincinnati because I don't know of any way in the regular season Joe Burrow loses to Jordan Love. I don't care how much you love Jordan Love. And then the Falcons beating up on the Dolphins.
Did you see that laser he threw, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, I'm like, take him out. I'm good. I've seen enough.
Yep. What happened with the Dolphins and Falcons? 19-3? We had a lot of second, third, fourth stringers in.
Yeah, I mean, we started everybody our second. Our first were on the bench, and you hear stuff coming out of Rumbling. I've talked to several of the guys the sources down in Miami, and it's the same thing. Every single one of your players that you guys love that we're going into year 2 or 3, they look so much better. I swear to God, I don't care if they don't look better. They look better. That is exactly what happens. And it's they look so much better. Tua looks so much better. Tua threw 3 interceptions the other day. I talked to him. It's just like, well, it's preseason game, but apparently they're picking him off left and right in our defenses. So it's kind of funny when you start talking to people about preseason, because it's just practice.
If their team looks good, then they're going to the Super Bowl, and if they look bad, it's just preseason.
We're in
I will
trouble.
tell you something. Sonia can agree with me. The Baltimore Ravens have not lost a preseason game in like 5 years. How nice for them. The last time the Browns won all their preseason games, they went 0 for 16 in the regular season. And I'm pretty sure the year the Detroit Lions went 0 for, they also won all their preseason games. It don't predict anything.
You're damn right.
Look at her with her stethoscope. Look at that stethoscope happening over here. Huh? Look at this.
Yes.
Welcome in, Sonia. What are you seeing in the preseason so far? Anything good? Aside from the overreaction of every fan watching the game. Miss a kick, you're cut.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, my God. Green Bay's kicker is horrible. I am sorry. And they're sitting there and they're saying, did you hear their fans' reaction? They want Mason back so bad. And, and this is the coaches. Well, we drafted him. He's like one of the first kickers in a while to get drafted. But we knew he'd miss a couple. He missed like almost every one of them. What are you talking about, a couple? You have one job, bro.
One job. You got one job. So what am I seeing in the preseason? I'm seeing a lot of, I think what you should try and do, I like kind of what the Lions are taking, their approach. It's like, what? Go out and play. Have fun. Just do what you got to do. Have fun. I mean, we're playing. You might as well try and win, but just have fun. And that's kind of what it is. I think they've kind of gotten just a lighter attitude at training camp this year. So that's part of it. What else am I seeing? I'm not really seeing too much. I will say I was really kind of surprised by Trey Lance. I really was. That was I wasn't expecting him to be the second coming of Joe Montana or anything like that, but I expected better. And especially, I expected better. He's competing for a spot. He's going up against 2 pretty decent quarterbacks. So I thought that he would have a little bit more, a better competitive spirit. So that was my big takeaway, is that Trey Lance really kind of disappointed me. But other than that, it's preseason. Just have fun with it.
We're not taking knees out in preseason?
I'm not.
Chopping them off the knees, huh?
Biting them off at the kneecaps?
Biting them off at the kneecaps?
No, they're not doing that. Not this year. Maybe next year.
It's brutal. It's brutal out there.
It is brutal.
Everybody loves preseason before the first game. Then the second game, they're just totally over it. We're ready for the preseason to be over. This is crap.
Also, I will say, Houston's defense was kind of surprising. I mean,
I'm not talking to you two about Houston. I'm not talking about the AFC South with you two at all.
Anyways, Kate.
Houston is going to be something to watch this year. It's going to be very interesting to watch Houston this year. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed. Their defense was really impressing me. So, yeah, that was
I will say in the AFC, since we're staying in the AFC, we'll talk about quarterbacks. I don't think Doug was a little bit happy with Trevor Lawrence. So I think he kind of redeemed himself a little bit, but we saw flashes of Trevor of old making stupid decisions, and so it'll be interesting, but I still think it's the Jags to take.
Oh, I agree. But to what we've all said, it's just a preseason. Everyone's got to get the rust out, shake the bugs off. They're trying, especially when it comes to defense. They really don't game plan for their opponent.
Any of them.
They game plan to try out different schemes and personnel packages see how they work. They need to get guys worked in to a series here and there to see if they're going to make the team. There's only 32 teams in 53 spots. That's 1,696, jobs. And there's 99. So there's 99 minus 53. There are 46 guys that aren't going to have jobs at the end of this preseason. That's half, right? So they're doing whatever they can do to make the team, and the coordinators got to get them in and try different schemes and mix things up. And so they're looking to see how these guys work together and how they do individual work more than is this the right scheme to stop the run or the pass or whatever that offense is doing. Exactly. And that's what I think a lot of people forget is they're trying out stuff. I get nervous weeks like this week. So this week, the Cleveland Browns will play the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend, and the Browns are in Philly. They're doing joint practices all week. That may be the only time,
right?
I don't know that the ones will see each other in practice all week. I can't believe Deshaun's out there in a red jersey letting defenders hit him. I don't think that's a thing. So we'll see how they look when the actual game gets here. But a lot of teams do that. We've done it in the past with the Bills and the Giants. So I was just very surprised that the Eagles would, I don't know who knows somebody, that they would let us come to town and practice with them and stuff. So that'll be fun. I was looking to see if there were any other matchups coming up this week that I thought would be interesting, even if they are preseason. So that's Browns and Eagles. They're the only game on Thursday night. Friday, we have the Panthers at the Giants and the Bengals at the Falcons. Right. I think the Bengals at Falcons will be interesting because the Falcons are all feeling themselves because they beat up on Miami and the Bengals lost to Green Bay. So we'll see if that translates into any. I don't think it will, but and then a slew of games. Jaguars are at Lions. We'll see if Trevor Lawrence can get his shrimp together. Dolphins are at Texans. So Lisa, you'll get to watch a little more of CJ.
Yeah. I enjoyed, like I said, I really enjoyed watching them. I really did. It was something to kind of keep an eye on because, like I said, it was something that we all followed. It's something I did a ton of research on at the Senior Bowl and stuff with these guys and talked to Bryce Young some. It's awesome. I mean, so it's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Browns backup position. I mean, I was so thrilled when they say DTR was going to start because I was like, yeah, he caught some. I just love the kid. I'll tell you another thing, guys. Watch the New England Patriots with Jones and Zappy. I'm telling you, that's a locker room divided. I have talked to many sources down here in Miami. There are a lot. There's guys that want Zappy and there's guys that want Jones. So that might be a problem.
It could be.
Except now they're just going to hand the ball off to Elliott, right? They're not going to let either one of them throw. Right. They're just going to hand the ball off to Zeke.
Patriots are traveling to Green Bay for the Packers this week. We got like 10 games on Saturday. One game on Sunday, Saints Chargers, and then one game on Monday, Ravens at Commanders.
We got a Monday game.
Yeah, we got a Monday game this week. The only other thing I will add from my viewing so far of what I've seen on Hard Knocks is that they are not going to show any of the cuts. They think it's intrusive and that it's not fair to the players to show them in a moment like that. And I kind of felt like that was the whole point of the show, right? Like, didn't it start to be about the process and letting us get to know these guys? And they pick like 8 to 12 guys. They kind of focus in all through the whole process. And then you see whether or not they make the team. I've seen guys get cut on Hard Knocks, and then I looked for them on other teams and kind of followed to see how they did. So I find it interesting that the Jets are not going to they're not going to show the cuts.
I know people have talked about it, and I agree.
It's too sensitive.
It's part of the
sensitive. It's part of the process. I think we should see it.
Yeah. I mean, don't go all up in their face, especially like if they're really emotional about it afterwards. But, let us see that moment.
But it's okay after a game when a guy misses a field goal to win to get in his face in the locker room.
Yep.
If you have a job with the media, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
And with Hard Knocks, I never felt like any of them were intrusive. They're like backing out of the way and they're not asking questions. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting because that's the whole point of preseason, right? You're trying to see who's going to make the team.
Exactly.
You're trying to see, who's got the skills. And if they don't, can they get picked up by someone else? Maybe some of these guys who are getting cut have done enough on camera that other teams have seen them, might invite them in to come take a look at them. Who knows?
I think the waiver wire has been pretty active. There's a lot of movement on those waiver wires. Have you guys noticed that? It's a little bit more than what I'm used to. I'm kind of keeping up. Like, who's this? The Raiders are picking up running backs here and there. We're signing wide receivers I've never even heard of. It's like, it's crazy. The waiver wire right now is kind of, whew.
Yeah,
So
I can't
other
keep
teams
track
are
of it.
watching
I
other
figure I'll
teams.
wait till we get the cuts, and then we'll see who who makes the 53 man that they got, and then I'll track him back to see where they found him on waivers. Because a lot of these guys are it's like plays in preseason. They're experiments. Let's try him out. Let's see how he does. Let's throw him in there, and if it doesn't work, they just let him go. A week later. So but there is, you're right, Lisa, a lot of waiver movement going on right now. All right. I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much to our chatters. One last comment from Graham, because he's right. Joint practices are more entertaining than preseason games because of the inevitable fights that break out. Right. There have been some memorable fights during joint practices. You are correct. We'll see if we get any this year. Thank you to everyone who has joined us. Sonia and Lisa, thank you so much for being here. Dana, I hope you're enjoying your assignment. And another shout out to Donkeys. You have to put your Donkeys, cheesesteaks, Camden, Medford, Mount Holly. Or you can go online and order them delivered to your house wherever you are. You don't have to just live in the New Jersey area. For the Archer football.
Live in the United States.
Right. Yes. Sorry. United States. So for Archer football, we're out. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Stethoscope lady.